Hello fellow tankers, this is Dauntless, and today I'm going to be playing a game in my WZ-111 1-4, my Tier 9 Chinese heavy tank. This tank is currently my favorite tank in the game, and that's mostly because it's a very mobile heavy tank with somewhat reliable armor, very good trolley turret armor, and just the most amazing gun that you could possibly have in a Tier 9 tank. It has 490 alpha, 249 pen, and it has awesome heat rounds at 340 penetration, allowing you to slice through, the cheeks of an even 100 if you have to. It's a great tank. I think it's very underestimated, and I don't think a lot of people realize what a great vehicle this is. Anyway, the map today is going to be Pilsen, if that's how you pronounce it. And if you look at the teams, it's somewhat balanced. I'm, on our team, but I usually don't count myself. But we do have a competent T55A player along with a T30. Their higher tiers are somewhat garbage, but they do have, shout out to World, the AMX 1390 and the RU251, as well as the Pershing and the T34. These two purple and two blue players, compared to our team, are a little bit worrisome. Blue players, purple players tend to live towards endgame, and because of that, it makes them very dangerous if they're all alive and I'm down to, half my hit points or whatnot. But again, the rest of their team is very red. This means that if I want to carry this game the best I can, I have to try to eliminate their red players as fast as possible, get through all that fluff to try to eliminate those players. Most likely because of the way this map is set up and because of the fact that I'm a heavy tank and they're going to probably assume that I'm going to go city. It's my assumption that the T32, the Pershing, AMX, the RU, they're all going to be on the 9-0 line. Now, we don't have a lot to counter that, unfortunately. We do have the T55A as well as our STA2, but for the most part, I'm just going to let, the 9-0 line go to the dogs. We'll probably have a few TDs sitting on base, being able to protect, and my goal for this map is to completely wipe out the city as quickly as I can and then turn around and try to defend. Pilsen is actually quite easy to defend from this corner right here. If the field gets completely taken, you can defend very well here, and that's my goal for this game, and we'll see how it plays out. Now the first place I like to set up on Pilsen when I'm spawning on this side is usually this building, right behind this building here. Popping out here allows you to get shots up into this area, anything that might be pushing across, and it's just some easy initial damage. Now it is prone to artillery fire. Artillery do like to sit right here on this edge, and because of that, if you're sitting here and you get lit, there's a good chance he'll lob a shot over and hit you with it. So you do have to be careful when you get lit. Now I do have heat loaded here, and mostly this is because I don't know what I'm gonna have to confront frontally here. A lot of the time tanks will show up here and they'll be in a hull down position, and I want that extra penetration to be able to punch through that armor. Now I was not able to penetrate that T10, and then I got a crit hit. I think I hit like a viewport or something on that IS. Really unfortunate. Wasted 2 heat shells. The T30 fires and misses, and I get a really lucky snapshot into, I think it was the upper plate of that T30. Again, you don't ever hit what you don't fire, so if you think it's going to be risky and you're in a safe position like this, it never hurts to fire your gun. The T54E1 gets lit. I'm able to put a nice high roll into him, and he's like, I'm getting out of here. I don't want to be hit by that gun again. This gun does pack a wallop of a punch, and that's mostly why I like it. When you get hit with this gun, you know it. The only other gun even close to this is the E75, which packs the same amount of alpha damage, but it has a longer reload. Now, at this point, I'm going to pause it really quick. You've noticed that pretty much everything on their team has been lit aside from this Black Prince. Now, this Black Prince is either AFK or hiding back here, and I'm not worried about him. The Lorraine, the artillery, obviously he's not going to be lit. But as I predicted, the Pershing is over here. I believe this is a T32, and the RU and the AMX are kind of circling around here, derping around. At this point, the only thing that would stop me from pushing around and flanking these guys is if there was a tank sitting right here, which there is not. And this is, these are the moments you have to realize that you have to make a move. If I sit here any longer, I'm doing nothing for the team, and it's giving the 9-0 line that much more time to, push our base. And this is another reason why I love this tank. Its relocating abilities is amazing. And I actually ended up driving around this building because at first I contemplated pushing the 9-0 line and taking those good players out, but I would end up going up against all those players alone, leaving myself to artillery. And again, I don't know if I can trust our team with completely wiping out the city completely, and so I decide it's in my best interest to push into the city. So I do fire a nice high roll into that IS. I think about finishing him off, but my high alpha is better suited for something else. Time is of the essence, and I figure somebody else is going to finish him off. So before, I don't stop and sit there and shoot and wait for my reload, but I do push ahead because I want to get the flank on these guys. Able to get a nice high roll again into that T-30. Not able to finish him off completely, but he is killed by our T-30 actually. And then I pop around this corner. I really want to get the kill on this E1, and I am able to do so. Now this WT is lit in the corner, and I want to get a nice shot into him as well. I want to clear this flank as quickly as possible. Again, I wait till my reload is done before I pop out, put the shot into him, and you'll notice that he was actually using the small gun. This means that his reload is able to beat mine, and it's in my best interest to conserve my hit points at this point in the game, and so I don't actually pop back around to shoot him a second time. He's going to be reloaded, he's going to know where I'm going to be popping out of, and I really don't want to take, a 490 hit in my side and possibly knock out my ammo rack or driver. So I know the T-30 is pushing him. I let him deal with the kill, and I push back around because I noticed that they are pushing the 9-0 line. This little dip in the hill right here where this tiger is sitting actually allows tanks with bad gun depression to somewhat haul down. You do have to have about -5 degrees to pull this off. You wouldn't be able to do this, I don't think, in the 121, but in the WZ-111 1-4 I am able to pull this off. Now the Pershing is lit. He thinks he's safe, I think, behind the building or behind whatever cover that was, but I'm able to get a nice lucky shot into his upper plate and taken off a nice chunk of damage from him. So the KV-3, I'm able to finish him off, and you'll notice that I did drive at an angle because I'm able to get more gun depression by doing so. The AMX started shooting me in the side. The spaced armor on this vehicle is actually quite nice, and the tracks do absorb quite a bit of damage, and by angling my tank towards him, I'm able to not be penetrated by the second shot. And at this point, the game is slowing down a little bit. It's kind of turned into a stalemate where both teams are pretty much equal, other than the fact that I'm in a tier 9 vehicle and we have a T-30 that's also a tier 9 while they do not. Our artillery, however, has been eliminated while they still have theirs, which gives them a slight advantage in my opinion. And this is why I'm hugging this building. I don't want to expose myself. I don't know where artillery is at the moment. I'm assuming he's probably going to be in A0, but there's also a good chance, okay, he just killed that guy, that he pushed into the city here, because all of our vehicles are pretty much lit at this point or have been lit in the near future. Now I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what do I need to do to win this game? And I noticed, they still have 3 good players left. The AMX 1390, at this point, Appetite, he's actually a buddy of mine. I play with him quite a bit, but he's my biggest threat. I know how he plays, and I have a feeling that he's going to try to just get our flank. He's in a fast vehicle. He's in a good vehicle for doing this kind of thing. He's basically in a tier 8 game in a tier 8 light tank, which is a dream scenario. And I don't think I've seen him even take any damage yet, meaning he's full life. And I think that tank has like 1100 hit points, meaning that I would have to hit him 3 times to kill him. And if he does somehow get my flank, he's going to be able to unload his clip on me before I can even get my second shot off. And that could be very, very dangerous. And if he does focus me, which I assume he will, I'm not going to be able to, rely on my team to really carry. Now, the Centurion is hauling down over here. This gun is not super accurate, and I'm taking shots just because it is worth it if I can connect one and put that 500 alpha damage hit into his turret, hopefully knock out his commander or something. Now, I noticed that the AMX 1390 is lit, and our 30 is most likely going to get eliminated by him. I realized that sitting here and taking pot shots at the scent is not worth it, and I need to eliminate the AMX while I can. He just killed the 30, and he might be putting in a new clip, I don't know, but he has only 5 shots now, and I think that gun has 250 alpha, meaning he'll have to connect at least 4, maybe all 5 if he wants to kill me, giving me that good chance of killing him. I do load an HE shell, which actually has 640 alpha damage, which is really crazy high. I'm able to put a nice shot, which is a low roll for HE shot on this vehicle, and get him all the way down to 472 health. He puts 2 shots into me, but it looks like he's completely out of ammo, and I'm able to secure the kill. Yeah, it's crazy. This HE shell has 150 extra alpha damage than the normal shells. I think that's actually a pretty high percentage compared to normal guns. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always felt that this thing has amazing potential with its HE rounds. I like to just shoot HE into artillery, light tanks, and especially like leopards, and I guess my favorite is the waffle line. They're really fun, you know. If you high roll with this thing, I've seen rolls of up to 700 plus with an HE shot, and that's like tank destroyer, you know, area. So the Pershing is lit. He takes a shot and ends up hitting the wreckage of that car. And I'm thinking about putting a shot into him, but he's smart enough where he's not going to give me a shot. Or so I think, you know, and he has a much more accurate gun than I do. And it's going to be risky trading with him when he's in that hold down position. I clumsily back up into this building because I'm trying to avoid being shot at from that Pershing if he does try to drive around. And I really do want to eliminate this T-32 first. He's kind of charging at our T-30. Really, really unfortunate that that shot was such a low roll. But at this point, even 2 more shots from my gun will eliminate him. And it's really risky for me right now. Well, not really risky, but I'm kind of conflicted right now. I want to move forward and help our T-30, but at the same time, I'm getting shots on this T-32, and opportunities like that you have to take. T-32 is a very dangerous enemy, especially when he's facing you, and getting a side profile like this is very, very rare. Critical hit. I must have hit a viewport there, or the cupola. I don't even know what I hit there with, but I am shooting heat, and so all damage is negated if I do hit a module. So I noticed that the Centurion is completely isolated now because the Pershing did push up to try to take out that T-30. And they're both competent players, and they realize that the T-30 is isolated and they need to get our numbers down, and they abandoned their Centurion. Now, it was a smart move on their can't even talk. It was a smart move on their part to do this because isolating the T-30 would make it 2-on-2, you know, even if their scent died, and they were banking on the fact that, you know, there's a good chance that I wouldn't have pushed up and killed that scent, but I did. If I hadn't done that, it would have been a very, very dangerous situation. So I prioritize killing the Pershing first because I want to eliminate as many guns as possible. I don't want 2 tanks shooting at me, so I do take a shot at that Centurion first, put a nice shot into the lower plate of that T-32, and then I go back to face hugging them. Face hugging this vehicle will give me the best chance of surviving just because my upper plate is not that great and he does have good gun depression. And I'm able to secure the kill, putting my total damage up to 7,455. I only got a little bit of assist, but I was able to secure my top gun. That was really risky. If he didn't bounce the first shot when I twisted my turret like that, we would have surely lost this game and it would have been kind of a heartbreak. But overall, I had a lot of fun on this game. This is why this tank shines so much, in my opinion. You have that great ability to relocate, like when I chased off that AMX, and great, you know, high alpha gun with even better alpha HE rounds where you can 2-shot tier 8 light tanks like with no problem. And your gun is a huge threat. You know, you hit an E100 for, you know, 500 damage, he's going to back off. That's going to hurt. And with your heat shells, you can sizzle right through his armor like nothing. This tank is a force to be reckoned with, and if you can get this thing hauled down, you can just be a monster. You can bounce tons of damage while every 12 seconds you can be hitting them for 500, which is awesome. You know, if you think about it, you need to pen 6 shots in order to get a 3,000 damage game, and that's pretty incredible. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this epic replay. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a like down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more content like this in the future. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. You've been awesome, and I'll talk to you guys later.